Oh snap, the King of Swords though. Alright, your underlying energy is the Ten of Swords. Underneath that you have the Tower. So definitely something unexpected happened that completely put itself to an end. I don't know if this, some of you guys, hopefully everybody's okay here, but there's definitely something that you didn't see coming. But this is about an ending to a cycle, an ending that perhaps, again, like I said, you didn't see coming. This is a really abrupt ending as well. This is something that's put it, it's done, it's out. But it can also indicate recovery as well. It could be that there's something that's it's about moving forward, right? Hitting the bottom of the bottom, hitting the worst of the worst, but the worst is over. Right? I think the worst is over. Or this is getting to that place where you could say the worst is over. Now, the situation here is the moon. So what we're dealing with right now, guys, is the moon. So a lot of you guys are facing a lot of your fears, going through a lot of stuff where you're having to kind of own up to a lot of the stuff that you may be feeling uncomfortable about, right? The moon can also indicate confusion and uncertainty. So there's a lot of stuff that's going on in your lives right now that just don't make any sense. But they bring up a lot of emotionally charged stuff. Right? So the Ace of Wands, which came up, could have been that, hey, there is somebody that is coming back from the past. For some of you guys, you're like, yeah, right, because I'm aware of this whole thing. But the thing is that for some of you too, this may be that thing that you're facing right now that's completely, utterly confusing, but bringing up a lot of emotional stuff. Now, a lot of you guys may not feel anything. A lot of you guys may be like the King of Swords here, just completely cold as ice, not feeling nothing. Or just, you're not upset, you're not angry, but you're not really, happy or ecstatic or anything. It's just like but there's something that you're tapping into. There's fights regarding discomfort, perhaps, or regarding commitments. Some of you guys, you're totally gung-ho about it. You don't care. You want to be in a connection. You want to be committed. Some of you guys, though, are finding it very difficult, finding it confusing, that even though you do want it, you still kind of hit this phase where you're hitting this stuff where it's kind of confusing and it doesn't make any sense. Now, in the past, you have the Seven of Pentacles. Okay, the Seven of Pentacles does talk about getting to a point where you have put in a lot of work. I feel like this is not just about money or career or anything like that. This is about spiritually, emotionally. You guys have definitely evolved in a great way and put in a lot of work, and you see the results of that coming in, but it's still like you're dealing with a lot of the stuff from the past. You still don't feel like you've completely gotten over a certain situation in your life. It just keeps coming back up. But the Ace of Swords is talking about bringing in some sort of new perspective, despite what's been still, was still lost, right? It was still being noticed for being gone. There's something to this, the situation that's kind of like keeping you at a standstill, if that makes sense. I kind of get a very stagnant kind of energy here, even though you guys are trying to make progress. But the Five of Cups here is indicating that there's a lot of looking back at the past and feeling mournful about it. Some of you guys are really upset about something in the past, though, and then some of you guys may not have truly moved on from it because you're still trying to understand what the hell happened in the first place. Because I don't think anybody's really upset or angry or mad. I think everybody's just trying to understand the confusion that this left behind. But I feel like the Ace of Swords may not be the actual clarity to the situation, the solving of this situation. I feel like there's something emotional that you have to understand for yourself in order for you to be able to, turn the other direction, to be open to something different, to be open to the cups that you have left, which looks like to be the Two of Cups, right? The Two of Cups is still standing right behind you. It's standing there waiting for you to accept these cups. But I feel like it may have to do with your value system, your confidence, your independence, your sense of self, right? Your stability, your routine, your structure. There may be some things that you have such a rigid structure on that you can't let anything in, which is why it's going to constantly remind you of things in the past, because you have such a rigid structure anyway. You're not opening up, you're not allowing things in. The Queen of Pentacles, she's a earth sign, not a water sign, and when it comes to addressing this moon energy, what would benefit for her doing this? Being emotional anyway, being cognizant of what's going on in her emotional state. She'll just continue to do work. She'll be like, okay, that's going on, I'm going to continue to do my job. I got things I got to do. I got responsibilities I got to take care of. She's not going to be looking at no doggone epiphany for her emotions. So I feel like at the same time, some of you guys maybe, and I'm just, please take this with a grain of salt. If this doesn't apply to you, it doesn't apply. But some of y'all are definitely distracting yourself with work. And that is your way of kind of coping with it. You guys have definitely worked your behind off and developed a lot of things about yourself, as well as a lot of finance and stuff goes, right? You've taken care of yourself in a really big way, but there's something still not right. Something still not right or wrong, this is just saying, but really something that's not to the peak of where you want it to be, right? You still haven't hit this hit yet, but it's coming. That's what I'm saying. I don't think you hit the worst of it, because right now you're going through the worst of it. It seems like, it feels like it, because you're still stuck here. You're still stuck at this 5 of Cups. Every time I pull a reading for you guys, it's 5 of Cups. Something's going on. Something's looking back at the past. Something that you really have to take another look at. And I don't know if I don't think it's really your fault, because everything is so confusing, right? The moon is like, boom, here you go, here's your stuff. And it's like, what the hell do you expect me to do with that? A lot of you guys are like, I don't know what the hell to do with any of this synchronicity crap. I don't know anything to do with this person that keeps coming back up that's from my past. And that you know that you've moved on and you've worked hard on it, but they keep showing up. It's like, no matter how much work you do, you're still left with the 3 cups that's still spilt. It's like Groundhog's Day. That's what it feels like. You can recover, but you still feel, in the state of loss. But there's an epiphany coming, the Ace of Swords, in your external energy. The Ace of Swords can be an epiphany. It can be that something is going to make more sense, but not in the sense of why something happened, but more of why you still, what is drawing you to this. I feel like you're developing a new truth by this situation being so weird. This truth that will cut away all confusion, right? That's going to, in a sense, the Ace of Swords is going to bring clarity. The clarity is within the loss. There's something here that's, that's still eating away at you, and you're distracting yourself through work. Because if you're really truly analyzing your emotions, the Queen of Pentacles would not come up. And I think this connection with that is to do with the commitment, and the commitment has a lot to do with the Hierophant, which is in your future. You end up committing to something, which is weird, right? Because, I mean, honestly, the Aquarians, y'all the rebels of the zodiac, y'all the nonconformists, and yet you have the Hierophant here. Now, it may be that there's certain traditions that you are not letting go of, that you just refuse to to compromise on. Fair enough, but I don't think this is going to let go anytime soon with the way you're going. And believe it or not, I can't believe I'm saying this, there may be a perspective that you may have to consider that's, that's definitely nuanced, that's not... hopefully I'm using that word correctly. That's not, of this generation, of this world right now. It's completely alien to even you, perhaps. And I think that it's like you can, maybe it's testing your integrity or your stubbornness with this. Maybe it's testing you to see if you truly are not going to buckle. Right? If you're truly going to stay within this realm of, belief, this traditional belief system, or are you going to change that belief? Because it looks like everything kind of points back to the relationship. Everything points back to what's missing, which is some sort of pentacles thing, which it could be traditions, it could be old-fashioned stuff, it could be stuff that's 2D, I always associate, I kind of feel like the pentacles to me are very old. Right? It can go on for long periods of time. And I feel like that's why the Hierophant's coming in with something old, something that's not Aquarian, very Saturnian. It's Saturnian. You guys have become very Saturnian, very traditional in some things. But I think there's something even like, even though you're open-minded and you're creating new things and starting new things in your life, there may be something very Saturnian that needs to change. It needs to be a Uranian instead. Hopefully you guys are understanding that terminology. You know what I'm saying? Hopefully you guys understand that. Your Uranus energy is all about change and the unexpected and innovation, right? New things. That's very youthful and vibrant energy, and then Saturn is the old, the father, the traditions, all that stuff. And I'm getting the sense that there's a piece of you that's holding on to a certain tradition that that's not letting you move forward. So we got here the goal and ambition, which is judgment. Now we got another loophole, and now we got another dice in the mix. And it's like your goal and ambition is to do something differently with a situation that you thought was over. Is there still a longing for this thing that you may have lost? I think some of you guys are hoping and wishing for something to return. And that's not a problem. That's okay. You know me, I ain't gonna sit here and judge you. There's a lot of situations I wish I could have a second chance at. And I do sit there sometimes and wish it. Some of you guys may be stuck here, and the thing is that you're distracting yourself with work and trying to prove to yourself that you don't need anybody, that you're independent, that you don't have to have nobody in your life at all. The Queen of Pentacles, she does that. She don't need no man. She don't need nobody. She don't need to commit to no relationship to get what she wants. But that doesn't mean that she may not benefit from it, you know? And I'm not saying to do it for practical means, but I'm saying that there's some sort of a, illusion with this Queen of Pentacles that needs to be completely, looked at, because it's, where did you do all this for? Why are you still hiding from? And I think it has a lot to do with the fact that there is still this desire to reconnect, to start over, to start something new. Some of you guys are like, fuck my ex, I'm not going back to them ever again. And that's totally fine. You're not, you're definitely allowed to. This message may not be for you. But I'm getting the sense that there is this desire of, to start again, start over, but do something differently this time. You want Phoenix to rise some Phoenix to rise up from the ashes again and provide you another opportunity to do something else, to do something different. And it may be with how you recovered. It may be with what's been going on right here with the Seven of Pentacles, right? Because every time I see Judgment, I'm like, what did you go through that you want to do differently? So your outcome is the King of Swords. Now, this is usually you guys, right? And I usually read these as you guys. And this is what's kind of throwing this whole thing off for me, too. Because I'm like, I don't think this is. Being the King of Swords. I feel like, yes, it's good to be in your energy. Innovative, ready to go. Uranus energy. Because you guys have been in Saturnian energy for a little bit longer than you realize, I think. You've been doing a lot of different things, but the way your mindset has been, it's been very Saturnian. Very traditional, some way. And I think that's why things are kind of getting confusing and weird, because you guys are looking at this in a very Saturnian attitude. A very, very earthy sort of energy. That's not you. You're not earthy. You're air. You're logical. You're innovative. You're unique. You're special. You're the alien, but everyone wishes that they were you. Let's be honest. Everybody does. And that's why people are jealous. That's why people do this and that and that. And everybody's, throwing themselves at you, saying they love you, saying they do this, and saying, they want to get to know you. They want to, they want to get to know you. They want to crowd your space. This is why you demand space. That's why you're doing things on your own. But there's something about the commitment too. I feel like that's what's really the epiphany of all of this. But it's so weird. Everybody has their own stories, and you know what? Every Aquarian that I've ever met, every Aquarian, they're all different. That's the interesting thing. They're consistent in their uniqueness. No Aquarian is the same. So let's go ahead and see what you guys got here. I know you guys are like, what the hell? But this is your message for this time around. There's something within the loss that's going to help you clarify something. There's there's an answer in the loss. There's an answer. And it could be that the answers also could be in the Two of Cups behind you. The relationship that you're turning your back on to focus on what was lost, so you can still do what you're doing now, which is perhaps being the Queen of Pentacles, being the person that's focused on work and responsibilities and a rigid schedule that doesn't allow them to do anything other than to handle their responsibilities. But I think that's why you end up looking at changing your routine, changing things up, because that's not you. You're doing this to do, you're doing something here that's going to eventually cause you to look at what's wrong, and then you could say that the worst is over. Because I think there's some piece to the mourning process, honoring your emotions truly, that hasn't been done yet, which is why the Queen of Pentacles is there. Because when you honor your emotions, I want to see the Queen of Cups. I want to see a Cups card. I don't want to see a Pentacles. because they don't, honor your emotions. I'm not saying earth signs don't honor their emotions, but they do not represent emotion. They do not represent the flow of emotion, and that is what I'm seeing. All right. Protect the wild and the green. Treat the world as you would treat yourself. You honor the world as you honor yourself. It's very similar, and it's very interesting that the meaning of that card there. And it talks about, giving back, giving of yourself, protecting the earth as you would protect yourself. But I feel like it's not just that. It's about, it's about understanding that these things have definitely provided you with a sense of stability that's remarkable, right? And this world has given you things to do to honestly ground yourself, which was something that you needed, so you can go through the moon energy, so you can go through that gateway and truly see what you need to see, so you can be able to walk out of there and truly have some sort of clarity, and you could truly kiss this phase goodbye and not have it linger, and not have it kind of come back, and you have to work on this, and deal with all these synchronicities that continue to remind you of the person that you're trying to get over. I'm going to read the affirmation for it anyway. $32. If I could get to it. Everything wants to be... I just keep skipping right over it. Alright, protect the wild and the green. You are a guardian of the earth and all who share it. The trees, the animals, and the birds, and the insects. I know why they picked this card. They're reminding you of who you are, Aquarius. You're not an earth sign. You may be ruled by Saturn, but you're not an earth sign. You are an Aquarius. And I understand, like I said before, everything in this planet has given you everything that you need to be the Queen of Pentacles, to be grounded, to be stable. And you could be confused about an earth sign yourself. But the thing is that this card talks about community, being a community member, putting yourself into the community. Understanding that you have a role on this earth as well as everyone else, and that you contribute to that. You are a guardian of the earth. That is, Aquarius, even though it's such a big title, nobody, you didn't ask for that. But everyone is a guardian of the earth. Not just you, but you play a special role because you understand what that means. And I think that the card isn't talking about just taking care of the earth and protecting you. It's about being an Aquarius. The community member, the person that goes. And I know that South Node being, the South Node being an Aquarius, that was a hard energy to be, to be a part of. And I look at that, close it, and I lose the page. But the message is saying that you are an Aquarius. The friendships, communities, you specialize in all those things. Let people be the people. People are your everything. And they are also, they don't have to be everything. You don't need them. You obviously showed that. But I think it's saying it's time to reconnect with you, because the thing that you're missing has to do with not just the love or relationships or being in a commitment, but being a part of people, interacting with people again. Being a community member again, and being associated with people again. Going out and being a part of people's lives and just doing things and having fun again. Just being a person. But anyway, let me go ahead and continue. It's time to play an active role in protecting and preserving the wild and the green by being aware and limiting your impact upon the natural world. This world is not yours to possess. It is a gift given to you and your children. Tread gently, tread with care, and walk with love. Remember, your relationship with the world is a symbiotic one. That's very clever of this deck. I swear this deck is so clever. But I have run out of time, guys. One last thing I almost forgot, actually. Oh my goodness, I can't believe I almost forgot this, but I am going to pull you guys your wisdom of the Oracle card. Getting all passionate and psyched out with this Messenger Oracle card, it can really throw off your whole readings thing. But anyway, let's go ahead and see what you guys got from the wisdom of the Oracle Aquarius for the next couple of weeks. Look at that. Yin is what y'all got. So not even taking action, it's just being passive. But what is this? It's very high priestess energy, and high priestess is all about connecting with the emotions, just being. And I think the situation now is about being. It's about knowing who you are and being in touch with your emotions. And I think y'all know exactly who you are, but with the end coming up, it's like there's no action needed to be taken. There's no need to do anything extra. Right now, it's all about being aware of how you feel, being aware of yourself, being you, right? I like this. Especially with being an Aquarius. Be you, be you, be you. You are you. And no more hiding. You know, I think there's a lot of people that are coming into your life. There's 2 of Cups. There's already somebody there. Let them in. Observe. Question. Do all the things that you want to do. But I think this is like the segue to starting something new. Which is why the Hierophant would be talking about changing your routine.